Okay, then I'm predicting the Indianapolis Colts record prediction. So looking at their roster, I think their offense definitely looks above average, depending on how Anthony Richardson does. I'm not a huge fan of Richardson, but he did look good before he got injured. However, I really don't like how the Colts stay status quo, especially on defense. Their defense to me is still a liability. I'm worried about who is their main pass rusher. Like only DeForest Buckner can only really do that much, and secondary is really concerning for me, especially what we saw last year. So I'm not a huge fan of the Colts staying just not getting any splash players. I think this one might be a slight regression year for the Colts because of their harder schedule. But you have your first game versus the Texans. To me, the Texans are the more established team right now. CJ Stroud has a year under his belt compared to Richardson's like 4 games. Um, Texans, I think Colts won't be able to stop that Texans offense. I gotta take the Texans here, even though it is a divisional game. In week two, pretty similar story to week one. Packers another young team that have a really good offense. All those wide receivers will stress out that Colts defense, and that Packers defense isn't bad. I think it can cause problems for a really young Richardson. So I'm going to take the Packers, especially with home field advantage. Then week three versus the Bears. I think the Bears are a pretty similar spot to the Colts, except with a slightly more talented roster for the Bears. But Colts have home field advantage, and I like Shane Steichen more than I like Eberflus, and Richardson has more experience than Caleb Williams at this point. I'm gonna take the Colts here. Bears to me, there's still too much of a mystery early in the season, more so than the Colts, who at least have like more established pieces. Then you have your week four versus the Pittsburgh. I can definitely see this game going either way. Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, their genius defense, I think will cause problems for Richardson, but I don't really trust that. I trust the Colts off defense slightly more than I trust the Steelers offense. So I'm taking the Colts here. Then you have week five versus the Jaguars. Jaguars, they're still a decent good team, and the Colts haven't beat Jaguars in like Duval and forever, so I'm gonna take the Jaguars here. Then you have them versus the Titans. Titans are coming off a bye. These two teams are definitely rivals. Titans coming off a bye. I think that will get them ready for the Colts. Titans team pretty similar talented. But I think that those Titans wide receivers will give too much problems. I'm going to take the Titans here. In week seven versus the Dolphins, similarly, those Dolphins wide receivers are going to be too much for that Colts defense to handle, and I just don't think that Colts offense is just not, to me, not a carrying type of offense. So I'm going to take the Dolphins here. Then you have them versus the Texans. Similarly, um, I do see the Colts splitting with the Texans here. They usually split the games. For some reason, Colts play better versus Texans. I think at this point, the Colts will start finding themselves. I'm going to take the Colts here. Then you have week 9 versus the Vikings. I've said this time and time again, I'm not a believer in the Vikings at all. I think Richardson will be able to handle that Brian Flores blitz heavy defense. And that Vikings offense, I think with JJ McCarthy is just not it. I'm going to take the Colts here. Then you have them versus the Bills. Bills, another Super Bowl contending team. I think that Bills defense is going to give that whole Colts offense fits. I, I just don't trust the Colts offense to get it done in this game at all. So I'm going to take the Bills here. Then you have them versus the Jets. Similarly to that last game, I think the Jets defense, especially with home field advantage, is going to cause problems for a young quarterback like Richardson, and the rest of that team offense just to me is not talented enough to step up. And that Jets offense is adequate, so I'm going to take the Jets here. Then you have them versus the Lions. This is a really tough schedule for the Colts here. They play the Bills, Jets, and the Lions again. I'm gonna have to take the Lions here. You know, they're Super Bowl contenders. The offense, Amon Ra will be unstoppable. I'm gonna take the Lions. Then you have them versus the Patriots. Um, Patriots. I think Jared Mayo could definitely scheme up something schematically to slow down Richardson. But I just not right now. I don't really see it. Patriots, their offense to me is just not good. It's gonna be like similar to last year's game. It's gonna be a really low scoring game. I think the Colts with slightly more talent will pull through. So I'm taking the Colts here. Then you have Week 15 um, versus the Broncos. Both these teams are coming off really late byes. Broncos, they could look very different at this point in week 15, but so could the Colts. I gotta take the team with more talent here, and that's the Colts. Even with Broncos home field advantage, I gotta take the Colts here. Then you have week 16 versus Versus the Titans. I think I had the Titans winning the first matchup, so I'm gonna take the Colts here. Um, Winning this game, they always split every year. I'm gonna take the Colts here. Then you have Week 17 versus the Giants. This one I think Saturday night game. I'm kind of a believer in the Giants. Not gonna lie. I think the Giants have a good defense that can slow down Richardson, and I trust Danny Dimes to do mediocre, and I think that will get the job done, especially with home field advantage. So I'm taking the Giants here. And Week 18 versus the Jaguars. I believe the Jaguars are gonna sweep the Colts here. Um, I just I think the Jaguars play the Colts well. So Indiana have the Colts going 7-10, 2-4 in the division, 3-5 at home, and 4-5 away.